When the CalPAC tournament got underway, there's a lot of pundits, including me, yours truly, who believed that UC Merced had a clear path to the tournament championship, but Jerred Cook and his Westcliff Warriors, they had other plans. Cascade Hoops Talk starts right now. As I said, the CalPAC, be it right or wrong, the only way out of the CalPAC to the national tournament, as a rule, is to win the automatic qualifier. So Jerred Cook, he saw that. He knew that Merced had not been beaten in 2025. He'll talk about that. And that he knew that was the only way to get his team to the national tournament. And they were able to win that game, actually at Merced. He's a very determined coach. He's a good guy. He gets a lot out of his players. I met Jerred Cook last year at the start of the season. I was covering a tournament up in Portland. They lost their game, and always what I do is I'll go to coaches. I'll go, hey, if you win, find me. I'll be over here in this corner. Maybe bring a player. Let's do a couple minutes. And so I told him that, and usually if they lose, I don't bother him, obviously, for obvious reasons. And, I think it was halftime of the next game. Coach Cook and a couple players walked up and they said, yeah, we want to do a couple-minute interview with you. And it was just so unusual because I can think of maybe one or two other coaches that have ever done that. But he's a real stand-up guy. He's a really good guy. One thing I think is most interesting about him, and we'll talk about this in the interview, is he's just involved in all aspects of basketball, including he's a certified referee, which I found kind of interesting as a coach. But I'll talk to him about that. But let's just take a few minutes to listen to Jerred Cook. He's the head men's basketball coach of the Westcliff Warriors. Cascade Hoops Talk, Billy D. I got Jerred Cook. He's the head men's basketball coach, Coach Westcliff University. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
There's a high school in the Portland metro area called West Lynn, and I apologize to all the Westcliff fans. I didn't mean to mess up like that. Coach, I want to talk to you about you guys won the CalPAC. Congratulations on that. I definitely want to talk about that. This win over UC Merced the other day, it doesn't stand by itself. There was a long building process that took place to make this happen.
First off, appreciate you for having me. This is actually my fourth season at Westcliff. Fourth season actually being the head coach, fourth season. In the second year, we actually went to the national tournament and we lost to the eventual champions, College of Idaho.
Yep.
After beating UC Merced in the title game that year as well. But to talk about this year and this team specifically, I must have to talk about how Merced was on a historic run. They haven't lost in all of 2025.
Yeah.
They ran, a 10-0 conference schedule, and they were clearly, at their best and the top team in our conference. For us, we had scheduled pretty tough throughout the non-conference season, and it doesn't show up, but we actually have 3 Division II wins this year. So we knew that overall, talent-wise, that we would be ready, and it's, again, just making sure that we had our best when it was needed to. Our previous games, when we played against Merced this year, the first game when we traveled up there, we dropped it by 1 possession. It was a 3-point game, and I believe we missed at least 7 free throws, and I know we lost a turnover margin. Then fast forward to senior night, we got completely embarrassed. I'm not sure if it was a lot of emotions attached to it or even us just riding on, a great performance in the previous conference game. But we clearly did not come to play. and it resulted in an embarrassing loss. I think that in itself, fueled our young men to make sure that when we had the opportunity to play against, Merced again, that we would, number one, be ready, and number two, that we wouldn't lose sight of the opportunity in front of us, And I think that our game plan was, executed all the way around from, our entire team to our staff, and we were able to come out on top with the victory.
Coach, you have a senior heavy starting lineup this season. Just talk about the seniors this season and how important they were.
Yeah, they were huge for us. I think you cannot put a price tag on experience. Number one, being able to bring over, someone that was a part of a championship team and have him come back home and Aaron Strings.
Yeah.
It provided a lot of experience for us and just reaffirm, the processes of what it takes to win. Bringing over Evan Hoosier for his senior year. He was a young man that, really wasn't on people's scouting reports last year. And to come back to buy into our program, making all conference this year and was pivotal for us in the middle. And then, to talk about just the returning aspect of players as well, I think is important. Raven Turner, who was going into his second year, he actually has one more year left. I know he's listed as a senior, but he does have one more year left.
Okay.
But he's a part of a group where, he was with us last year and, coming up short on a tip-in to be able to have opportunity to be going to the national tournament. He took the time in this offseason to make the adjustments to his own game, and I think it's paid well for him. And then I must talk about, when you talk about experience, our point guard, Micaiah Hankins, being the, lone returner from, that championship team. He was a freshman at that time and now going into his junior year, him being one of the most hardest workers on our team, and then having the experience as well, I think it made a seamless transition for guys to follow him as a leader, and spurring us through for this run this year.
Yeah, Raven Turner, he played over at Jefferson in Portland. I was familiar with him. You say Micaiah Hankins has had a great season. This team this year, it was a little bit of a surprise. You talked about Merced being on a roll. Just observers, including Coach, honestly, myself, I thought Merced's path to that title was clear. And for you to overcome that, how did you keep the team, going forward and not kind of reading the press clippings about Merced?
Yeah, no, I think you talked about it, and it was everywhere. And at times it did weigh on us. I think even for us to drop 2 games after losing the first game to Merced, we lost the next conference game. I think just still in our feelings from that loss.
Yeah.
For us, it's a mantra that I keep having, and keep reminding the guys, sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. And that always us, always comes back to, for us, the accountability aspect, of the part that we play, and I think we were able to peel back the layers of, the game plan maybe not being executed, or the lack of effort and focus that's needed to win those games. But to have a team, these guys are really close. This is probably my closest team that I've had since I've been here. Maybe not be as talented, but you start to see, and I think that was evident in the way that they were able to play for each other. And like I talked about in terms of holding each other accountable, it's been, a pivotal point for us this year for us to have success.
You did something nobody else was really, well, maybe Montana Tech, but you were able to out-defend UC Merced. It's very, very hard to do. You held them to, 2 from 19 from the 3, but you held them to 53 points. How were you able to out-defend them? They're known as one of the top defensive teams in the country.
Yes, most definitely. Well, first off, credit to Merced, and Coach Fam and his staff. You know, like you talked about, they are a very tough defensive team. Um, all the way around, you know, you have to try to crack their shell of a defense. And for us, you know, we kind of peeled the layers back and wanted to give them a dose of their own medicine. Uh, you know, they wanted to speed guys up and maybe cause more turnovers, and we tried to give them a dose of their own medicine with, you know, obviously the player of the year, Cameron Brown, being the engine for their team as well. We want to just make it tough. Every time he came off any DHOs or ball screens, just wanted to make sure he saw multiple guys and wanted to make others have to beat us. You know, the game plan, you know, in short, you know, we wanted to say ABC, anybody but Cam.
Yeah.
And wanted to, you know, try to make sure that we made it tough on everyone. And a pivotal point for us is always no threes. Principle, excuse me, is no threes and no layups. So trying to make sure that we try to, you know, make it as tough as possible for the teams to beat us.
Coach, talk about what this means for Westcliff basketball, because coming out of the Cal Pac, be it right, be it wrong, usually most times the only path to the national tournament is through this title. What does it mean to you guys to pick up this title, especially when you weren't when it wasn't expected? Let's just put, maybe you expected it, but not many observers did. What does it mean for the program?
It means everything. I think you just mentioned it, right? The reputation of West Coast hoops, especially at the NAIA level and even in the Cal Pac. Not many know the struggles or the different things that we're actually going through to make it happen. And for me, I'm actually speaking from my own experience playing at the NAIA level and going to the Final Four when I was at Bellevue University. Yes. Now, this is a time when it was still, you know, 2 divisions for the NAIA, but I understood it at that time and even more now of the landscape of where the respect lies. And that is more in the Midwest, where there are more teams, I would say. So for me, you know, we've struggled to get the recognition to even play more NAIA opponents. So anytime we have the opportunity, we know that this is pretty much our only shot. But at the same time, there are some very great and good schools on the West Coast, you know, at the Division I level and at the Division II level, where we've been able to still create, you know, a portfolio for our young men to compete.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you know, we understand that, you know, it is stacked up against us, but at the same time, we try to prepare ourselves as much as possible for what we're able to do. It's everything for our university, knowing, you know, the resources that we do have and don't have, and just continuously where we're trying to grow as an athletic department since we're still young in the NAIA.
Yeah. You know, Coach, you're definitely, well, first thing, you're definitely challenged geographically to get NAIA games, and that's got to be tough. But I thought the fact that, you know, you picked up a lot of D2 games, you won, what was it, 3 of them. But as you said, you were able to develop a good portfolio. Coach, I want to go back to you for a moment. Every basketball coach is a basketball junkie, right? But I think you have the most rounded basketball background I've ever read about. Like you say, you played at Bellevue, you went to the Final Four. You're very involved with camps over at UCLA. You're also a referee. I don't know too many coaches who are also referees. And then you've been a coach for a number of years. Is there anything in basketball you don't do?
I haven't been able to find that one yet. I think I've been able to turn every leaf over, and been blessed to be able to really again have you know, basketball play a huge aspect of my life, and for me, I say use it as a vehicle.
Yeah.
You know, for different things and for relationships and to where I am now. I'm grateful for that background all the way around. You know, being a player and still being able to immerse myself in the summertime, whether it's training my clients or working basketball camps. It is, for us and just being able to create the relationships with our players, I think it's helped be able to, just spur our momentum in having success. I don't do as much refereeing anymore, but I think that has paid so many ways in terms of being able to see the game from different perspectives. And I think that at the end of the day, when you're trying to create a team, when you're trying to make that impact, I don't want to miss anything. And I think that just where my background has allowed me to be able to have is just what you said, a well-roundedness to be able to attack everything. We talked about it and joked about being able to keep your pivot out the trap.
Yeah.
But I think that just that is the same way for life and how I've tried to approach it.
Well, I did want to ask you about that with the refereeing, though. Did it change? You talked about it changed your vision of the game, or improved your vision. But did it help you as a coach to, I'll just say, not waste energy worrying about things that you understand the way the referee is thinking when other coaches just don't, and so they might put a lot of energy into being frustrated over it? Does that help you?
Yes and no, right? I found myself on both sides because
yeah, I bet.
If it does, because they're human as well, right? And the emotions that could be tied to it, and the different circumstances of home, away, whatever the game, score may be, right? But at the end of the day, like you say, yes, overall it has definitely helped myself and my team, my staff, in the way we're, even trying to attack offensively or coach our guys up defensively. And
yes.
Even the questions that I'm able to pose to the officials to make sure we understand, that we're on the same page. One of the main ones I ask in terms of being able to make sure our guys learn and, going A to A, or the different things about your own cylinder, right? I think if you've been able to look at team stats over the last 4 years, we've actually been in the top 50 in the country in terms of being able to get to the free throw line. And I think that's a key point in just what you said.
That's interesting. Coach, before I let you go, I got to tell everybody, this guy is a stand-up guy. I was covering a tournament in Portland over at Warner Pacific, and Coach, you guys were there. And after, I don't remember, you lost, whoever you were playing, you fell, you lost that game. And but at halftime, because I never typically will bother a coach if they lose, but Coach Cook came over, I think you brought one or two players with you, and we all talked and did interviews after you lost. I thought it was a very, I thought it really impressed me. You're a stand-up guy, Coach. I really enjoyed meeting you there, and I look forward to seeing what you guys can do in the national tournament.
Most definitely. I appreciate you as always, and it doesn't go unnoticed all the way around your impact on the NAIA community and being able to cover us, wherever we are. And, I appreciate you for taking the time to see us. Thank you for even reaching out today for this interview. We look forward to connecting, trying to make a run in this national tournament. Thank you for the support.
Well, go get a run and we'll get you on again. How's that sound?
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Hey, Coach, thank you very much. That's Coach Jerred Cook. He's the head men's basketball coach, Westcliff University. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you for having me, Billy.
Hey, thanks a lot to Jerred Cook and to Westcliff University as well. Really enjoyed talking to him, as I said, for the third time. I mean, the guy's a stand-up guy, and I really enjoyed meeting him. And thank you to the university. Let's keep an eye on them and see what they can do in the tournament. They're definitely going to be underdogs, but that's not a new role for them. Hey, I appreciate everybody listening. We're going to try to pull together a few interviews over the next few days. Probably won't be back until Monday. Don't forget to watch the selection show tonight. I know everybody is just clamoring, where are we going? Where are we going? Watch that selection show. It's at 5 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central, and we're all going to find out together. If you still want to look at predictions, go to Bowen's Brackets on X. They'll put up, I think they're going to put up they just put up another one, I believe. So you can take a look at that. It might be fun to compare it. But we'll be back most likely on Monday. Take a couple days off, relax, get your energy back, because when the 64 gets in action, it's going to get crazy. This is Billy D. That's all I got. Thank you very much for supporting our podcast. Please like and subscribe. Get out to your local NAIA school, because NAIA basketball is the best entertainment value in America.